So without any further ado, I'll hand you over to Liane. Thank you.
My name's Liane Groves and I work for Unite Union, and I've got a fantastic job, and my job is to roll out community organising across the UK, and it is a brand new initiative that the union's had for about a year. Just to reiterate what Mark said about sort of our political differences, because one of the rules around political community organising is that we leave our politics at the door, and what we do is we build on what brings us together, and that's one of sort of the main tenets of community organising. So I'm going to explain to you what Unite is trying to achieve, why we're trying to achieve it, but I just wanted to start off by just telling you an example of what is achievable through community organising. A few months ago, Unite was talking to a group of Somali women in North Bristol, and these group of women for 2 years have been trying to get a women-only swimming session in their local swimming baths. And this is not a terribly, outrageous thing to demand. Lots of public pools across the country have women-only swimming sessions. Every public pool in Bristol has women-only swimming sessions. But these group of Somali women, they approached their local pool and said, can you provide this for us? And the local swimming pool basically just could not be bothered to give these women what they wanted. I think the reason that the swimming pool took that decision, because I think they believed these women had no power, they had no leverage, so therefore they couldn't be bothered to do what these women wanted. So these women en masse joined Unite Community. We've got over 30 members in that group, and what the union was able to provide was some training, some campaign training. I actually went along a few weeks ago and did a session on how you can get media coverage. And at the end of this meeting, what these women decided themselves and planned was to have an action during Mother's Day. So what they did was they got all of their kids to write these big Mother's Day cards. All I want for my mum is that she can go swimming. And then they planned an action outside the local pool on Mother's Day, and they put out a press release, and the local TV turned up, the local newspaper turned up, and it was just a really happy, friendly, protest outside the swimming pool, kids and families, and it was a really nice event. And then yesterday we got the phone call from the local authority, and they've asked to meet with the women and the union representatives as well. And I just think, that's a really good example of where a group of women were basically ignored for 2 years, but they came together, they came under the banner of Unite, and they were able to achieve. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to win this campaign. And the rules between community organising is a campaign deeply felt, is it widely felt, and is it winnable? And this campaign had all of those three tenets. So I was just so happy yesterday. I met these women weeks ago, and I'm just thinking they're going to get to swim with their children, and it's just a really nice story. So you might be asking yourself, why is a trade union that organises workers in workplaces getting involved in community organising? Well, I just want to sort of take you back historically with the role that trade unions used to play within society. Unions were based in their communities. In the old days, we would have had large employers, large industries, where the shop stewards would have been well known within their communities. They would have been well respected, and people would have gone to their shop stewards in their homes with their social problems. And I think where industry changed, big workplaces closed down, workplaces moved away from where people lived, and trade unions over decades have lost that link with their communities. So we want to change that. And then, of course, the other reason why Unite decided to start its community organising initiative is because we're now facing a Tory government, or a coalition, if you like. And I think Owen will probably tell us a lot more about the effects of austerity, and I'm sure everyone in this room has been touched by what the government are trying to do. You know, privatising our NHS, the cuts to welfare, the cuts to Sure Start, you know, the cuts to our public services are having a devastating impact on working class communities. And my union wanted to do something about that. So we decided, the leadership of the union decided that we needed to increase our reach within communities. We also realised quite early on that the union cannot win its industrial battles on its own. We tried to campaign for 2 years to stop the Health and Social Care Bill, which is paving the way for mass privatisation of the NHS. We could not stop that bill because we didn't have communities on our side. And I think, you know, workers on their own can't stop the cuts that are happening. Workers have to join with the community to build a coalition to stop the cuts. So that's the background on why Unite decided to open its doors to people that are not in work. So what is Unite Community? Mark's already explained. It's for people that are not in paid work. So unemployed, students, retired, carers, volunteers. I mean, there's 1 million young people that are without a job at the moment. And, you know, if you're not in work, how can you get involved and get active in the union? So the union, for 50p a week, you can now join us and you can become part of the union family, part of Unite's 1.5 million members. And how is it working? So yeah, it was set up about a year ago, and I think this group today, we're hoping to get a group set up today, will be about the 21st group that's been set up. So up and around the country, we've got Sheffield, Leeds, Newcastle, there's 3 groups going in Glasgow, there's Belfast, there's 2 groups going in Edinburgh, Bristol, Ipswich, Cambridge. We're about to set up a group in the Isle of Wight, we're about to set up groups in the Channel Islands. And I got a phone call this morning from an activist in Whitstable, and there's activists in Whitstable and in Thanet that want to start groups. So it's a really exciting time that these groups are basically mushrooming everywhere. But what, you know, how do you set up a group? What do you do? I mean, it starts in exactly the way Mark has started to set up a group. It starts with a couple of really key activists that want to get something going, and then it's a case of just reaching out to the wider community, you know, talking to the other anti-cuts groups, talking to, you know, women's groups and all the other sort of community organisations that already exist, and then bringing people together to support each other. So out of our, you know, 20 groups that are busy doing, you know, activities around the country, I'm just going to give you a few examples of what our groups are doing. I mean, it's what the union does not want to do is tell groups what to campaign on. That's not the way it works. It comes from the bottom up. And groups, what you need to do is have a listening exercise with your community. You know, we can't prejudge what the issues are in different communities. So, I mean, just going around the country again, our activists in Leeds tend to be young people, and workfare is their biggest issue, and they're outside demonstrating against companies that are using workfare, and they've already shut a couple down. They've already just disgraced these companies, and they've stopped using workfare placements. In Hull, I've got some activists that are campaigning to save a local hospital in Hull. In Liverpool, again, the NHS is a really big issue. And of course, the bedroom tax. We can barely keep up with the demand for our materials. I mean, hopefully you can go and have a look at what we're producing. But, I mean, I'm literally printing tens of thousands of bedroom tax leaflets and flyers and stickers. And groups are just meeting in people's front rooms, meeting in community centres, and trying to fight this vicious bedroom tax. In Belfast, they're about to privatise virtually the whole of their social housing stock, and that's going to result in massive rent rises for the people in Belfast. So that's their campaigning issue. In London, we've got groups where what they wanted to do themselves was offer benefit buddying to other people that are out of work. The benefit system is really, really difficult at the moment. You can get sanctioned, you can lose your benefits for weeks for being purely 5 minutes late for an interview. So people are just offering that sort of mutual support for each other in London. And so that's just a sort of a flavour of what's going on around the country. And the other thing, what Unite is trying to achieve as well is that we don't want Unite Community to just be bolted onto the side of our union. We want Unite Community to be absolutely integral to everything that the union does. And so we're building relationships between our working members and our community members. And I'll just give you another example of where that's working really well. In Sheffield, there was an industrial dispute by the Tesco's drivers, the lorry drivers, and they were going into dispute with Tesco's. So our community members before Christmas, they went on what we would call in trade union jargon is they used their leverage. They went outside Tesco's shops before Christmas every afternoon and told the customers, don't shop in here, they're anti-union, they sack trade unionists. And Tesco's was so freaked out about us, tarnishing their brand, that they soon settled our dispute, and our members won their dispute. And the officer at the time just said that community members were a tonic to her troops. So I mean, it's just really good things. And it's not, it's not just a two-way street either. Our industrial branches are helping out with our community branches as well. In Sainsbury's, the branch has it's sponsoring 50 community members because 50p a week is a lot of money. It's £2 odd a month, and that's a meal for a family if you're living on benefits. So our industrial members are also supporting our community members. And so, if people join Unite Community, what do they get? I mean, there's some individual sort of member benefits, and these are exactly the same as our working members get. It's stuff like free debt advice, benefits check-up, help with CV writing. There's a jobs board that links in with 10,000 jobs that are advertised every week. And the other thing that we offer to Unite Community members is skills and training. So these courses are all free to Unite Community members, stuff like ITC, basic computer skills, numeracy, literacy, and Unite Community activist training as well. So it's good packaging, but the individual benefits is not really why Unite has gone down this road. And what's really important is that people stand together, and what we're really trying to achieve is collectivism. I mean, someone once sort of told me this story about this father gave his son a stick and said, can you break this stick? And the son went, yeah, of course I can, Dad. And then he gave him a group of sticks and said, well, break these. And of course you can't. You can't break a group of sticks. You can't break when people are together. And I think, what we've learned is that if you stick together and collectively, we can achieve. And I think what the government are trying to do is divide us. They're trying to divide the strivers and the scroungers. And we do not want that to happen. We want to build those bridges between the unemployed and the workers. All our issues are the same. So yeah, that's basically what Unite is trying to achieve. And after Owen has spoken, I'm happy to take any questions. All right, thank you.